Hello, beautiful people. I was wondering who's going to grab that bottle first. We're just going to casually leave that right there.
So, today, this is not the Rooster. This is now the Rosco. We're taking over the show.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be interviewing Mr. Michael right here.
That's me.
Yes. About the Rooster, ironically enough. So, Michael, who are you?
My name is Michael Carpenter. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. Probably most importantly, being a father and a husband. But what we're here to talk about is I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the one opening the Rooster in Gastonia. Several years ago, before the pandemic, before COVID went down.
Yeah.
I had a business before. It's boring. I had a vending machine. I had vending machines. I had a whole bunch of vending machines, and I drove around all day, pulling money out of machines and putting snacks in machines. And it wasn't a bad gig at all. It was, at first it was fun. The exciting part was like getting good locations and stuff. But what happened was I got a good rhythm going, and I had a good route run.
Yeah.
And then I got super, super bored with it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it was too easy.
Yeah.
And I, mentally, I need to be challenged. You know what I'm saying?
I can totally relate.
So you feel like you've always got to move that goalpost to be a little bit better, get
that. Yeah, absolutely. I need to have, people, you become a better person by, figuring your way out through hardship. That's how you become a strong person. Pushing yourself, to your limits. Getting comfortable equals complacency, and complacency leads to boredom and a whole lot of other evil things.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah. So that's what was happening, and my wife my wife saw it. She could see me not being me.
Yeah.
And so one night we were sitting outside together, and she was like, "Michael, what the hell's wrong with you, man? What's going on?" And I told her, I said, "I think this job's going to kill my soul."
Wow.
I said, this was a good idea, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
So my wife, she was like, "Figure it out." That's what she said. Figure it out. So fix it. I said, okay, because she knew as well as I knew that I was the only person that could fix what was wrong, right?
Of course, absolutely.
So, anyways, I don't mean to pontificate. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was going to ask. Is that why you chose a venue? Is because that's the most. You can't get bored doing that.
So there's a lot of factors that went. I've talked a lot to people personally about all the different motivations for starting the Rooster.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of them, but there was this seed of an idea that was planted several years before that, where my wife and I, we frequent concerts and live shows, entertainment, comedy shows, stage shows, all that stuff. And we always would find ourselves driving an hour and a half, 2 hours away for entertainment.
Yeah.
And one night we were on the way home from Ground Zero. Shout out to Mick. We were on the way home from a Ground Zero show, and we were talking. I was like, man, we should just do this in Gastonia. We're always got these long rides home. We should find a place to start doing music in Gastonia. And at the time, it was like a throwaway thought, that would be cool.
Yeah.
How cool would that be?
Brand new.
Yeah.
Pipe
Yeah. So, and at the time, I had the vending thing going. I had just started the vending thing. So this was several years before. Well, fast forward to me being bored with life, and I had being a business owner in Gaston County.
Yeah.
I had gotten to know the people in the business community. I'd started going to Chamber of Commerce meetings, leadership meetings, things like that. And through that I was starting to get to know the mechanics of the town, of the county, and how business how things stay afloat in a city, what makes everything run. And I also was privy to what was coming. So there's this big baseball field now, the Gastonia Honey Hunters. We have a baseball team. So at the time, the deal was still being worked out to build that field. and there were some new apartments coming to downtown. They had just done some other apartments in downtown, and more foot traffic was coming to downtown Gastonia. You know, I could see Gastonia being a Greenville 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Area-wise, they're roughly the same size. You know, Greenville just had BMW, you know, made the big investment and brought all the jobs, and that's what brought all the people. And from there, you've got all these great venues and restaurants and stuff in Greenville. Well, we can do the same thing in Gastonia. So, you know, seeing what all was happening, there was one thing no one was talking about.
Music.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Music and entertainment.
The most important business there is.
Well, if you want young professionals to move to your town, young people who have money to spend, you want to raise that tax revenue, you need people to spend money. And you know, apartments are great. You know, that gets people there, but you got to give them something to do.
Absolutely.
And you know, not everyone's into baseball. You know, I like it. I go to the baseball games. No shade being thrown here. It's just that not everyone's into that. So, you know, the wheels just, it's one of those, like, all these forces were working at work, you know.
Yeah.
It was, you know, me being so bored with what I was doing, and this opportunity was starting to present itself, because we had talked about this a few years before. It's like, hey, wouldn't that be cool? And so when she told me to figure it out, I started, you know, digging in the well of ideas, and was like, maybe this will work.
Yeah, it's kind of filling two different needs. It's kind of bringing people to Gastonia, making it like a center, a spot for people to go and hang out. You know, you don't have to go to other towns, you know, to go do stuff. And you know, this love of music, I want to explore that just a little bit more.
Yes.
What about it being specifically a music venue? Because, you know, of course, entertainment can be a lot of different things. It could be a movie theater, but what about music makes you really excited?
Well, first of all, we will do more than just music, but mostly music. Yeah, we'll do comedy and other type of stage shows. But to your point, you know, way back in the day, long time ago, in a land far away, I was a musician.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I wasn't very good.
What'd you play?
I played bass.
Hey,
Okay,
a room
so
full of bass players.
For everyone watching at home, we are a house full of bass players. We all are, you know, kings of the low end. So, so you're right at home with us. You're right at home.
Yes, I am. So I was in a band called Pale Reason back in the 90s. We were kind of like a grunge type alternative band.
Oh, cool.
You know, you kind of take Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, throw them all in a bucket, and you had Pale Reason. That's kind of what we sounded like.
Cool.
But you know, somewhere along the way, you know, at some point I got busy with life, and like the bass took a back seat, and you know, I didn't keep it going. So, you know,
Probably took up the whole backseat. Them things are long.
Fender jazz bass. It was white with a pearl pick.
Oh, and I would wager that you sold it.
I held on to it for a long time, and I finally sold it when in my mid-20s. But I had it from the time I was 16 to the time I was about 26, 27 years old. So I had it a good 10 years.
I bet you missed that thing.
I do. I missed the hell out of it. If I was to ever go buy a new bass, I would probably go try to find that very specific model.
Man,
It sounded so good, man. I tried all different types of strings on it, like
flat wounds and all that.
Yeah, I did that. I did the Ernie balls, but I always ended up going back to boomers just because
That's
of
what I use.
just the sound. Yeah, the sound is so good, man. They just sound. They got that twang that you want without being too slinky. You know, I just love the way they sounded. So anyway, I put the bass down and kind of moved on with my life, but my love for music never went away. You know, and my love for original, you know, creative things. Like, for me, it's not just music, it's art in general. You know, like I said, we go to comedy shows, we go to stage shows, you know, musicals, that kind of stuff. I love the way art, you know, people can express themselves in ways that can connect with other people. And, you know, I know it's a bit of a cliche these days to say shit like this, but, you know, music has saved my life numerous amount of times.
Yeah.
You know, there's been, you know, you talk about the highs and the lows of life. There have been times where a particular song or an album or artist kind of gets you through whatever hardship you're dealing with at the time. And without those albums, you know, where would I be? What would I have learned from those experiences if I didn't have that sense of comfort that came with someone else's creation.
Do you think that wanting to create that experience for someone, because I'm sure
Absolutely.
People come up to me all the time. I'm sure they come up to you guys all the time and say,
yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for playing tonight. Like, I love going to shows. Like, this is what keeps me happy. Is that what you're trying to do, is kind of create that same experience for someone else?
Absolutely. That's I mean, you just broke it down to its simplest form.
Cool.
Like really, that's what I want to spread that love, and I've often said, like, I don't look at the Rooster as an opportunity to get rich, although that would be wonderful if that happened. This, as long as we can pay the bills, I'll do this till the day I die.
Hell yeah!
Because giving people an opportunity. It's so 3-dimensional. It's not just about people going and getting that experience at a show. It's about the artists, guys like you, getting on stage and having an opportunity to make a connection with an audience.
Absolutely.
Like I'm not coming here to swing. I'm not trying to book national tour acts. I'm trying to get local, regional bands on our stage. We're building we got this big, huge stage. Like, we want to make you feel like a rock star. I want you to wear the people out. You know what I'm saying? I want everyone to leave tired.
The people want to be worn out.
Yeah, I think they do too. And now, timing, you talk about timing, right?
Yeah.
Timing has worked for and against me throughout this, because, like I said before, it was before COVID when I started this, right?
Yeah. Oh, I
remember. So I bought this building, not knowing that, months from then, everything was going to shut down for 2 years.
Surprise.
Yeah. Right. So it worked out in a good way, because I was able to get this property before shit got so expensive.
Yeah.
Now you couldn't afford it. But it also worked against me in that I had to wait so long, it felt like, to get through the COVID thing, to get where we're at.
It clogged
now.
everything up. I mean, you couldn't get anything going during COVID. I mean, you couldn't go to doctor's appointments, you couldn't do this, couldn't do that. I feel the same way about that, because Auralayer started March 13th is when we played our first show at Ground Zero. Shout out Mick.
Shout out Mick.
We played our first show that week, and everybody was just like, what the fuck is COVID? I don't know what this is.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, dude. Back in February, I was posting, Corona bottle memes, like, trying to be funny about it, because nobody knew what it was.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and so, little did I know.
Surprise. Yeah.
That little meme.
Yeah, and we all thought it was like, what is that, like H1N1 back in the day, and Ebola and stuff like that. You hear about it on the news, and it's like, okay, one person got it somewhere in New York, all right.
But they bled from their eyes.
Bath salts will do that to you.
I want to. We've shouted out Mick twice, so let me take a minute to give some real love to Mick Munchow, and I hope you're watching this, Mick. One of the first things I did before I bought the building was I called Ground Zero. I had only knew Mick in passing, just from going to so many shows. I didn't know him personally, but I called down there and I asked if I could come down and talk to him. I said, let me take you to lunch, man. Let me just come down and take you to lunch. And rightfully so, he was very apprehensive. Like, what does this dude want from me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly how I would have felt if someone did me the same way.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you at all, Mick, for being apprehensive. But what happened was we had this very long conversation. And he could see that I was genuine in my motives, that, he gave me some of the best advice. And the things that he said to me then have stuck with me now. And as I've gone through this process of trying to get the place open, I'm not even open, and I can already see some of the things that he warned me about with certain people in the business, and in the way some people act and treat others and stuff.
Yeah.
So Mick, I mean, I'm forever grateful for the time you took to talk to me, and I hope that we can continue to build that relationship and work together to kind of help the music scene. So sorry, I didn't mean to grandstand.
Since we're already talking about Mick, I mean, we all have like a story. We've all been to Ground Zero. We've all seen really great shows. I'll say in my own experience, our first like show. I mean, we played like a parking lot with one of Nick's groups on the back of like a truck bed, and we took video of it because we were just like, oh my god, well, like how can we show this to Mick to like get on stage? Because we were like, how are we going to start playing shows at venues? And so I had this little tiny GoPro thing, and I took video and I took audio of it and made these little video compilations. And I sent them to Mick, And I was just like, hey man, like, will you give us a shot and let us play there? And he fulfilled a huge dream of mine, was to open for Be It the Means. Yeah. And I'm sure, you know, everybody loves Be It the Means. You know, they're like every band's favorite band. And so...
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, yeah.
Every band's favorite band.
They're amazing. I mean, they're incredible.
Hope we can get them on our stage.
Yeah, oh man. I
would love that.
Yes. Wherever you are, Josh, we love you. So he let us open for Be It the Means as our like first show at Ground Zero, which was a huge milestone for me. And I'm sure Blake can talk about the many shows he's had at Ground Zero. How amazing that was.
With Be It the Means at Ground Zero at least 20 times.
Yeah.
So again, shout out to Mick. 10 years ago when I started doing this thing, like, I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of venues in Greenville, or rather the Upstate, like real venues, not just dive bars. And I'm talking about like a venue where people are there to see the music. Not to hang out I mean, they're there to hang out, but like they're there for one thing. They want to see some music and they want to meet some people and have a good time. And like 18 years old, I'm sitting there playing at this place and I was like, this is it. We're living the dream. Cause it's like a big stage. Again, you go from playing in the corner of some smoky dive bar to like actually being on this platform. And there's so many bands that would come through there you got to play with. And I met so many friends that are still friends today from all that. So yeah, shout out to Mick for having something awesome while the rest of the world pushes back against him. Like I know he's had a lot of trouble with Spartanburg City, always trying to like undercut him and stuff. Assholes in the business everywhere. This dude keeps going. He's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, that's the word for it, perseverance.
Energizer Bunny of entrepreneurship. and as far as the upstate music scene goes, whatever you want to call it, like this dude is the lifeblood of it for sure.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's places have come and gone. I don't want to get too deep down that rabbit hole, but no, he's a immovable object.
No, I mean the handlebar gone. From downtown, it's a bowling alley now.
Well, I want to. You both alluded to something that I very much look forward to with the Rooster. Is you both talked about that feeling of like, man, I just want to get on stage, and that feeling to get on stage the first time. I am so looking forward to providing that opportunity for real artists. Like, that's one of the things that makes me the happiest about what I'm doing is being able to give people an opportunity. My hope is that the majority, if not everybody, takes that opportunity and just runs with it. And, let's make some ruckus. Let's make some noise and let's keep building this scene, because Greenville's got a pretty healthy scene.
Yeah.
As far as music goes, and Charlotte's got their thing going on. Asheville's got their thing going on, and Hickory even has a little bit of a scene up in Hickory and Marion area, and we're right smack in the middle of all four of those cities.
Oh yeah.
We can become like a connective tissue to make this whole region a scene, like turn it into the next region that puts out you've had. Seattle, Atlanta, of course, New York and LA are constants.
Yeah.
But you got, Sacramento even had, back in the late 90s, had a lot of bands coming out of there. Who's to say that, the Southeast, Greenville, Charlotte area could be like the next hub for great rock and roll, great country, and that's the other thing is like, we can put all kinds of music on our stage. You know what I'm saying? Like not being... Dive bars are kind of married. They're tied to, cover bands. And I got nothing. Like, we're going to play a lot of cover bands. Believe me, tribute bands, cover bands will play our stage.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, as a musician, being in a cover band, you can feel like you're just background noise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
I was just having a conversation about that with a friend of mine, Gavin. It is one of those things that's like, it can be kind of demoralizing to be that background band. So the focus is the music,
right? And that's what we want to do. That's why purposely we didn't put a big kitchen or nothing. I might do some snacks.
Yeah,
we'll get a food truck out there, but I'm not trying to have you come here and have dinner. I want you to come here and have a good time and be entertained. I want your focus to be on that stage. That's why we're going to encourage people to, like, when the show starts, to kind of settle in and be here for the show. I'm sure there's going to be, people talking and stuff at the bar, but we're going to encourage people. I'm not going to tell people what to do.
Yeah.
But we're going to encourage people to say, hey, show starting. Let's give these guys our full attention. Let's have a great show.
There's a place like that in Greenville, downtown Greenville, called Swanson's, and what they'll do is this guy, his name's Ash Lennox. He'll get on the microphone and be like, "All right, up next is this band and this band," and it encourages people to come back in from the smoke
That's
breaks
our
and
Cody.
stuff like that.
That's our Cody with a K.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cody with a K. That's going to be our guy that he's our master of ceremonies, if you will.
The host.
Cody's quite the guy.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
We love you, Cody.
Yeah, I love his energy. He's got a better face and a better voice than I do, so he's the guy. Love you, brother.
Fun dude. I wish you were here, Cody. We have a fun time.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. I like that it's going to be kind of the connective tissue between like the Greenville area, Spartanburg, up through Charlotte, because that's kind of where it is it kind of skips all over that and goes straight to Charlotte, because
Columbia, South Carolina, even.
Yeah.
Like just this whole, you drop a pin in Gastonia, you can draw a circle that's 75 miles outside of Gastonia, and you've got all these hubs, and there's all these great bands doing all this great stuff, and it's so hard to get noticed because even if, and I'll even say, the Planet does do some work to help promote local bands, and I appreciate the hell out of that. They're probably already pushing their limits with their corporate, bosses, doing what they do. But even if radio was as big as it was when I was coming up, it's everyone's getting their music from their phones, from different streaming services, YouTube, and it's really, really hard to get noticed on a big stage. So if we can make a little noise, maybe we can start getting some of our music on, some of our band's music on streaming platforms that on playlists is what I mean. Yeah. On certain, start messing with the algorithm in the Southeast. You know what I mean?
Oh, and on that point too, with giving like artists kind of bigger opportunities, do you foresee maybe like nationals coming to the Rooster and having the local support on that to be able to help them out?
Before I answer that question, I'm going to say this. When I made the decision to do this, everybody that I know has a piece of advice.
Yeah.
Is the nice way to put it. Right? But a lot of people have asked me that question about national acts. And here's what I'll say about it. If an opportunity presents itself to book, I don't know, let's say, I'll use a band that's constantly touring, like Seven Dust.
Okay.
Right? So they're Seven Dust, they're everywhere all the time. They never stop touring.
Yeah.
And they're a band that I can catch in between Atlanta and DC or Atlanta and Raleigh.
Yeah. And
get them in the middle of the week for a reduced rate. That I'll do. Yeah. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to drop 10 grand on the show. Our capacity is 250 people.
Yeah. Right.
So I would have to charge, $50, $60 a ticket. I'm not going to do that to people. I just, if we're successful and we do really well and I can, grow the business, maybe down the road, that's something I might be into, but I'm not sure that I really want to get into that because, again, the heart of what we're trying to do at the Rooster, what we really want to do is build a scene and be a platform for artists to get it to the next level.
Yeah.
You need people, you need places like the Rooster before you can get on that national level. And there's kind of a lack of those types of places in where we live. So to answer your question is, yes, I will book national acts when the opportunity presents itself for the deal that's right.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to, there will be shows that we book where we might have to charge $30 a ticket.
Yeah.
But I want to keep our tickets $20 and under. If we can charge between 10 and 20 for every show we put on or most of our shows, we can pay the bands, which, by the way, is very important.
Yeah.
I know you guys know that. I know you guys have played a lot of shows for a bar tab, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to put cash in you guys' hands, and make it worth the trip, make it worth your time. And that's why we will charge a cover. That's, you never forget the adage that you get what you pay for. You pay us to come see a show, you're going to get a good show.
And it encourages bands to come back. I can't tell you how many times I've been, like, say traveling up north, and you go to this random bar somewhere, and they're like, okay, for all three bands, here's $12. Yeah. And then you just kind of look at them like, $12, but I drove like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that hurts. You're just like, man, oh my God, it's a gut punch. But it happens sometimes. That's really cool that you're focusing on supporting the artists and making them feel welcome and also feel like they want to come back,
I feel like if we, in order for us to be successful, we have to create that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a very talented musician. I'm not like you guys. I'm not a professional musician. But what I am is I'm creative like that.
Yeah.
I like coming up with solutions and fun, different things to help people out and let's just face it, I was never made to be an employee. I just
That's okay.
yeah.
This is a safe place to say that. Some people just don't like being told what to do. Some people know what they trust their intuition. They know, I know what is right here is true to me, is going to move me closer to my goals, and it's going to leave me feeling better after the fact. Rather than doing it your way, let me do it my way. I know that's the right way.
I like that word intuition, because that's what's led me through this whole process, is my intuition as to what the right choices to make are and doing, even all the way down to where the property's at.
Great spot, by the way. I mean, that is like the cool part of Gastonia. And then there's that little downtown area. There's like, it looks almost like something you see in Washington D.C. I don't know what it is, but it's like right in that, by that cigar bar over there. But
the little brick, the pavilion.
The pavilion. The
pavilion.
whole place is just so cool. It's got so much character. But I wanted to touch on one more thing that you said. You said that you wanted to focus on creating a certain type of atmosphere.
Yes.
And I love that, because that that's me. I'm the guy paying $10 to come see a cool band at the door, drinking a couple Jack and Cokes or whatever you have at the bar, or a beer or two, or a few too many. You never know. So, like,
speaking of,
yeah, let's all have a little
finish your thought.
Turn of the tequila. Also, thank you to my friend Brian. He generously donated this very generous serving size of some fine tequila. But after we all take a swig out of the jug,
hell yeah.
I want to know a little bit more in your headspace when it comes to creating the atmosphere. What does that atmosphere look and feel like? Like, what is your mission as far as that goes?
So I want, first and foremost, I want people to be professionals. The not just my staff, but the artists, our sound engineers, the people behind the scenes. I want everyone to treat it with reverence and treat it like a professional atmosphere. And by doing that, we can create the experience that we're intending to create. If we're all lax about things and we're just kind of, throwing shit together and, it's, fuck it. Like, if we take that attitude, that's what we're going to get.
Yeah.
Is we're going to get an fuck it kind of show.
You get what you give.
Yeah. So number one, I want everyone involved to be professionals. Number two, I want to create a safe environment. That's why we will turn people away at the door that insist on bringing their gun in. People that insist on wearing colors or, even, patches and, like that kind of stuff. Sorry, I've got nothing against, any of those groups of people. But I want all of you to come to the Rooster. And in order for all of you to come and have a good time together, we got to keep some of that shit out of our four walls to make everyone feel comfortable. I want a biker to be able to hang out with a lawyer, that kind of, what I mean? Like and not in the courtroom.
Yeah, exactly.
So a biker and a lawyer walk into a bar.
Right.
It happens to be your bar.
My bar.
An all-inclusive space. Why don't we roll onto something back? Let's roll back to another point. I want to ask about not just, of course, the Rooster, the venue, but I want to kind of look back at why we're here to begin with, like how we're recording the show and the microphones and everything, because you also have a show called The Rooster. And
Rooster
that's
Radio.
what we're on right now, Rooster Radio.
Rooster Radio.
Even though
Rosco Radio.
Even though we're calling it Rosco Radio, it's just a joke. We're interviewing him this time instead of him interviewing us. But what got you to the point of recording a show called The Rooster? Because I think that's fascinating.
All right, so when I started looking for property, I found the building. Once I had that building in my possession, I started going everywhere and promoting what we were about to do.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I made business cards. I created a website and was like, created our social media page. It was like, hey, I would show up to local shows in Gastonia whenever there was someone playing live. I'd hand them a business card, send me your info. All of the owners of the bars in downtown, I started talking to them about what we're trying to do. And so I spent about 6 months beating the street promoting what we were doing.
Yeah.
I even got a t-shirt in the process.
That's right. And that created a bit of a buzz. Like we started to get followers on social media and people were talking about us. And it was like starting to it was starting to take shape. This idea of the Rooster was starting to get wheels, if you will, right? So COVID happens and shut everything down. And I'm like, oh shit! I've been out here, because when everything shut down, it took 2 weeks for me to get in touch with my banker.
Yeah.
And I was like, and after 2 weeks of shutdown, he was like, Michael, he's like, this is gonna have to wait. He's like, we're not gonna do this until this shutdown stuff's over. All right. So I go home that day and I'm like, like, what am I going to do? I've put all of this energy and time into building like a reputation for the Rooster. So I got the idea. I was like, what if we can't give bands a stage, but we can give bands a voice, right? I was like, what if we do a podcast? So I called up Cody, who at the time was like a friend he was more of an acquaintance than a friend at the time, because we only really knew each other from going to shows together. Like we never really hung out on a daily basis. But I knew that he was into the idea of the Rooster. He was one of the earliest, most supportive people. Yeah. So I also knew that he likes to be an entertainer. He would go do open mic stand-up comedy. He was a musician. So I called up Cody. I said, Cody, what do you think about doing like a podcast, talking to artists? And he was just, I didn't even finish the sentence, and he was like, yes. Yeah. So I was like, all right. So I threw it out on social media. Would anybody be interested in doing a podcast? Yeah. And the handful of bands that we had started to build a relationship with was like, hey, we'll do that. And shout out to Block A here and Buddy. Shout out to Buddy and Testarossa. Cody and Buddy and Cody knew each other pretty well. I knew Buddy, just through friends. Yeah. So we reached out, and Testarossa did our very first episode of Rooster Radio on Zoom. We were doing them on Zoom for like the first, 6 or 7 episodes. Yeah. And then one of the bands was like, oh, fuck it, we'll come to you. So we're like, all right. So we set up that little studio that you guys have been in at the house. And went from there. But it was an effort. To answer your question, Rooster Radio started as an effort to stay in front of people. Yeah. Just to keep people's attention on what we were doing and keep people interested in what we were doing. And I mean, shit, we did 60 episodes. Yeah. We did 60 episodes and we stopped because construction started. And, and you guys know I'm busy. I got a lot going on. Very busy, and so once we open, we'll be able to move that show into our green room. Ooh. And we can start, we have better cameras, we have better microphones. Yeah. Like we already have the equipment now that will produce a better show than what I think we've done some really cool, really great episodes, but it's going to get even better when we get into the green room and again, professional. It'll be more professional. You can tell listening to those first 60 episodes that you could tell we were doing it in my office at home,
Man, that's crazy how like there's such an evolution with that, how it started from like Zoom calls to like in studio stuff to now you're actually getting to the venue and you can interview bands there and it's going to be this like high production thing. Is it really fascinating to kind of look back on the first days of the podcast compared to now?
Absolutely, because I had no clue what I was doing.
Hey, you want to talk about a full circle moment that on that first interview you did with me and Buddy, like 2 years ago now, almost.
Yeah.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
God. I was in this very same room, so.
Oh, you were here? Yeah, this is where you were? Yeah. Nice.
That's awesome.
I was sitting at a desk that is no longer in here, but I remember doing that. I did it on my iPad, right in this room.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was fun. It was a learning experience for sure because, I'm not a professional broadcaster. I still don't claim to be. But what I do think I am is I think that I know how to ask interesting questions, and I find it fascinating to know people's stories. I want you to tell your story. Like, again, the atmosphere that we're creating, I like storytellers. I like when people talk about a song that they wrote and talk about the inspiration for it, before they play it or after they play it. And those kind of stories, I often say this. I say it to my kids all the time. I say it to my close friends all the time. Everyone's got a story. Everybody's got a story. Now, some of them might be boring as shit, but everyone still has a story to tell. So, like, I get it, but I'm fascinated with people's stories. Like, I want to know where the inspiration came from. Like what made you want to do this? Who was it that you listened to? Who introduced you to it? Because I'll never forget. Being 13 years old, And my best friend came home with a cassette tape of Rage Against the Machine's first album.
Oh, cool.
I was 13 years old, and he pops this tape in, and within minutes we're jumping up and down on the furniture. We're going nuts because we had never heard anything like that before.
Yeah,
it's like, what is this? Like, you can say these things, and from there, the whole like grunge era, the heavy metal that I classic rock that I grew up on. I think back to Pink Floyd and Alice in Chains and all these bands that even more current. Even in my 20s, it was like bands like Evans Blue, who no one probably watching this knows who they are. But if you've never heard of Evans Blue, I highly recommend it. And you know that. Nice.
Oh man. Hey.
But Evans Blue, I mean, those first two albums, those are albums that helped me get through a very difficult time in my life. I mean, no shit, like those, beautifully well-written, good hard rock music with lyrics that are just, transcendent. Lyrics that spoke to who I was inside, the feelings I was feeling, emotions I was dealing with, just those. I fucking forgot where I was going with that. I got caught up in the moment.
No, man, that's awesome.
Like that's the kind of experience, is like knowing people's stories. Like had it not been for the influences of like the Pink Floyds and the Rage Against the Machines and all that, I would not have developed the tastes that I have now. And don't get me wrong, I talk a lot about rock and roll because I'm a metalhead at heart.
Yeah.
But I also spent the majority of the 90s listening to hip hop, because fuck what you say, hip hop was a shit in the 90s. It's never going to get any better than that. Like, it's never going to be that good.
Dude, I need you to turn me on to some good 90s hip hop.
Redman. Just start with the album. Start with what the album and just go and listen to the whole thing. Redman's the reason that I love hip hop.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
and Wu-Tang, of course.
Well, Michael, I really appreciate you letting us take over the show for a little bit, get to know you a little bit better, because you are an absolutely fascinating person.
You got me
fascinating
all hyped
story.
He got me all hyped.
He is hyped, and I'm hyped too. I'm hyped that Michael's hyped. Hey. I want to hand the reins back over to you, my friend,
yes.
and let you use your master interviewing skills and here's some stories and pass the questions on to us.
Well, I'll start by saying this. I should have called you. I almost called you over the weekend. I woke up Saturday morning with a song in my head. Herman the Hearst driver.
Yeah.
I woke up and that song was stuck in my head, and I should have called you to shout it out, but yeah, I just kind of kept that little thing to myself. And
I'm glad I'm finding out right now in person, because that's awesome. That's really awesome.
So you guys have been busy in the lab. Testarossa and Auralayer both. You guys have both been busy creating awesome music. So tell me a little bit about, Herman the Hearst driver is a solo thing.
Yeah. So
are you going by Jake Williams? Are you
Kimball? It's my middle name.
Okay, you're going by Kimball.
It's solo, but not so solo, because I had some really great help from some really great friends, two of which are sitting right here. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Jake Williams, and we have Mr. Blake Webb from Testarossa over here, and we have Nick Fox over here from Client 5 and Dandy and the Lions. So how Herman the Hearst driver came about, how it happened, was I write a lot of music with my band, as everybody in their group does. They write music with their group, but sometimes I'm just alone down here in the studio with an acoustic guitar or electric guitar, and I sing about my experiences, and I'll try different chord progressions out and stuff like that, and sometimes a song hits, and you're like, wow, this is something I really like. That's kind of a good tune. I can remember that, and that's essentially how Herman the Hearst driver started. Was I was down here sitting in the room just next door.
It's so catchy.
Thank you.
So catchy. I couldn't get out of my head Saturday morning.
The melody came first, and then I was singing the melody, trying to figure out the chords. That was something John Lennon said, was find your melody first and write your chords to your melody. And so that's what I did. I'd take a lot of songwriting influence from the Beatles. Obviously, I'm if you ever watch my story,
I'm pretty
it's just
sure
McCartney,
everyone
McCartney,
does.
McCartney.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone does, whether they realize it or not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, like even
You
if
know who you are.
The goats. They're the goats. I mean, really. So yeah, I was working at a job. I'll call it Messed My. You can figure it out. I was really, really, really bummed about working this job. And if anybody who has ever worked during the pandemic can tell you, it's not fun. And they'll, big corporations and companies will throw you under the bus very quickly. We had no masks, we had no safety equipment, nothing. We were just out there raw dogging life.
Raw dogging the pandemic.
So that was what happened, is like I was really miserable in this job, and I wanted to kind of do my own Eleanor Rigby almost, where you write from a character's perspective instead of your own. Because
oddly enough, my daughter is hooked on Eleanor Rigby right now.
It's a
my
great
11-year-old daughter. They played it for her in music class, and she is just nonstop playing it.
I remember when I first heard it, and it really stops you in your tracks. That's White Album, isn't it?
Eleanor Rigby? No, that's not on White Album. That's we just bought that album. I can't remember the name of it. We just bought it this past weekend. We just bought the record. I can't remember the name of the album. No, because that's what she thought it was on. And we bought that one too,
Revolver?
by the way. Yes, it's Revolver.
The other White Album.
Yeah. We just bought Revolver at the record store this weekend.
That's my favorite Beatles album, actually.
Yeah.
And Your Bird Can Sing. Tomorrow Never Knows, the last track. And actually, if you love the song, you know that it sounds like a bunch of birds cawing, but apparently it was like their laugh tracks played backwards or something.
That's incredible.
Well, what's interesting, you were saying about like writing music. How, you're both in bands, or you're all three in bands. You're in two bands.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you write something and it's not for that band. And like when I was coming up, like when Eddie Vedder or Scott Weiland or anybody would go on their own and do solo stuff, people would talk shit oh, it's not as good. It's like, well, first of all, an artist is going to be an artist. Artist going to artist, right? You're going to write stuff, and sometimes what you write isn't right for the band that you're in.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's where a lot of that comes from. And a lot of, look, a lot of stuff that John Lennon wrote after the Beatles is just as good.
Yeah,
as most of the Beatles stuff. And people fail to realize, like, people that don't understand artists fail to realize that, like, some things you can't put a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, they're not just attached to one thing. Like, if I would find it very surprising if any of the Beatles stopped making music after the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like, George Harrison did a whole record of just like beeps and boops with a synthesizer.
He was also in the Traveling Wilburys.
Oh God, I love that group.
Great.
And you have Wings,
Yeah,
Paul
McCartney,
dude.
I mean, like, that's the thing, is like an artist doesn't stop creating, and it's weird. I haven't really ever called myself an artist until recently, because that's what songwriting is. It's an art form. It's like making a painting or taking a picture or something.
It's hard to call yourself an artist until you've reached a point where you feel like what you're doing is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because I tell this to my 11-year-old daughter all the time. Harmony, if you're watching this, hear me again. You got to start somewhere. Like, no one's going to be good at something right out the gate. You have to learn. That's the reason I don't play music anymore. I suck because I gave it up. I stopped playing it. And now I don't have the time to retrain myself, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully when we open the Rooster, I can pick that bass up again and get going.
You'll find a white jazz bass somewhere.
Yeah, that's my intention is to learn again, because now when I pick it up, I've forgotten so much. But the point that I'm making is, like, you got to put in some hours before you can wear that badge, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to put in the time to learn. And then most artists will reach a point where they're like, oh wait, I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
And that's when you can say I'm an artist. You know what I'm saying?
That's a really interesting way of looking at it, because I've never thought about it like that. I had it in my head for a long time that like you have to write like 100 good songs before you, or 100 songs before you get to a good song.
Some people do. Some people's their first song is amazing and they never write anything ever again.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But they're still an artist because they were able to make something that hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That hit. And when I say hit, it means it hit enough people and to make them feel something. People like to make fun of one-hit wonders, but where would we be without a lot of those songs? And where would those people that made that art and their families be without that creation?
Soapbox, real fast. Everybody calls Dead or Alive You Spin Me Around. You probably heard it on Stranger Things. They call them a one-hit wonder. They're not. Listen to Youthquake. You'll be very happy that you did.
Well, Blake, I want to hear Blake tell, and I want to hear you talk about writing music with Testarossa, because you guys are very collaborative as well, aren't you?
All right, so there's usually a couple different ways we go about it. Sometimes Colton just comes in, everything's written. He's like, "Oh no, man, you got to do this on bass," and then he'll have Jordan slow the hell on down with his playing. Nobody can keep up with Jordan. No. Jordan can even outrun himself, which is crazy.
I believe that.
But my favorite. And like Knocking Outside Your Door is one of those songs that it was just like Colton just came in and I was like, here it is, and there was no.
What's crazy is that he wrote that story about an experience you had.
Well, an experience my brother had, and so long story short, I was like 15 years old, and my brother was driving me to school. He's like, I gotta tell you something. You can't tell our parents. I'm like, what? He's like, I picked up this guy. And to make a very long story short, you pull out a gun.
Yeah, watch the song.
He's having a bad day. You got to check out the music video. Jake is the star of the sad guy in the video.
I hold a gun.
But that story plays to my point about artists. That Colton wrote a song about an experience your brother had, right? He was able to take a story that maybe your brother or yourself didn't have the inspiration or the ability to tell it in a way that Colton did, right? So, and that's what artists do. They humanize everything, right? You humanize experience and tell a story in a way that makes us all feel something about it. Now, I want to hear Nick talk a little bit because you haven't said much.
Nick has been very quiet.
So tell us a little bit about your experience and how you became a musician and got into the bands that you're in.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really all started from a really early age. Like, my dad bought me my first guitar, and it just kind of stuck with me. And Jake's my cousin, so I got him into it. And then
Nick's been playing longer than any of us. Actually, he was the person who picked up a musical instrument before anyone. And where did you take lessons again?
Was it East Side?
It was East Side.
I took a few, and then from there, like, I kind of stopped taking lessons and kind of went on from there.
But you guys are in the YouTube generation too, so you have the advantage of being able to pull up YouTube videos. We didn't have that. We had books. We had books where we had to learn tablature.
Very much so.
I learned how to play guitar and bass from watching YouTube videos. Nick and my journeys are parallel to each other, and Blake as well.
Very much so.
We started as just these fledgling musicians, and I remember Nick was playing guitar, and like, to me he was like a god. Oh my god, he can play all these guitar solos and like Ace Frehley, and I was.
He's got the look too.
Awesome. Oh
he definitely
we used to worship this guy. Yeah. Like, play the solo again, play it again. He's like, wow! I'm like, oh!
So it was cool because I was like barely able to play bass a little bit, and Nick was putting in hours and hours and hours, and he's probably the reason. He's the reason I play music. Yeah,
he's also the reason I play music. So I'll let you on a secret. Had I not met this guy, I probably would have never picked up the bass. When I was in the 8th grade, I would have this fantasy of playing the bass guitar in front of the school auditorium, like just ripping out a crazy bass solo. Well, I didn't have a bass guitar, and even if I did have one, I wouldn't know how to use it. Well, when you're in the 8th grade, you can't just go drop $300 on a bass guitar, because $300 is basically $3 million.
Yeah,
So it's the first day of my sophomore year in high school, and it's like 8 in the morning, minute 1, day 1, first day of the year. So you look around, you're like, who's cool? Who's gonna be my friend this year? Yeah. This dude had a Halo shirt on. I'm like, I like Halo. Hey man, you can play Halo? And he goes, yeah, we'll play some Halo. But he gave me his demo tape of his band.
Nice.
And he says, me and my cousin we have a band, man. We're looking for a bass player and a drummer. And I'm like, I want to be a bass player. He said, get your ass in the room and get a bass guitar. So my dad bought me my first bass.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just started making music, playing the talent shows and stuff together in the high school. And
can I ask Nick a question real
yeah,
fast?
Yeah.
Sure.
What was your first impression of Blake? He's like, this motherfucker.
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth.
You thought I was an asshole, didn't you?
Probably.
Oh, you come clean. I can be an asshole.
Do you think he was a little too excited?
Blake?
He's always had that energy.
You know, I'll tell my first impressions of Blake. I was this like punk rock kid with my hair in my face, and I would wear only long sleeve shirts with the thumbs cut out for.
Oh, you were an emo kid.
I didn't listen to emo music, but I dressed like an emo kid.
Okay, fair enough.
He was emo, but he just didn't like emo.
Yeah, I hate emo music. So I saw, like, Nick was telling me about this kid that he met at school. What was that?
You didn't go to the city to see a marching band?
No. I have no idea. Oh, wait, that's probably a reference.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. So, yeah. So...
You got it right, Nick? Okay.
They got it. I'm clueless.
Y'all are best buddies and you just met.
So Nick was telling me about this guy that he met at school who likes Halo, and so we were like, all right, cool. And, I remember he told me, he's like, he doesn't know how to play bass, but he's going to learn. I was like, oh, God. Shit. So, Nick brings this guy over to his house, and Blake walks in. I'll never forget this. He was wearing a blue Hollister shirt, and he was wearing, I think it was like the American Eagle blue jeans.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were. Yeah.
And he had a swoop haircut, like the Bieber swoop almost.
Nice.
My mom kept me styling.
It was like
you were like a model. You were like them dudes that hung out at the mall in front of the store.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to be like my brother, so I copied his style because my brother was always getting ladies and I wasn't. So I was like, I should be more like him. Actually, my brother did pick up the acoustic guitar before I ever even picked up the bass guitar. So it was kind of cool, and he stopped playing. And so I just kind of was just like, one day I was like, try that thing, because I'd only been playing bass for like a year at this time, so I had never really picked up like a guitar. I didn't know how to do the thing, so one day I just started picking around. But I played bass for like a year before I even put hands on a guitar.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I had made really good friends with the guitar player in my band in high school, and before we were ever a band, he had already was learning play. He was taking lessons, learning how to play. And he would tell me about it, and he was like, "We should start a band." And I was like, "I don't know how to play." And he's like, "Just get a bass guitar, man." He's like, "I'll teach you." I was like, "All right." And so my guitar player, shout out to Ricky Haney. Ricky Haney taught me how to play bass.
That's awesome.
And
Thanks, Ricky.
he was taking lessons and then coming home and teaching me what he was learning at his lessons.
That's what Nick was doing. That's exactly what Nick was doing.
Yeah, that's how I learned it. And I started thumping around, getting a little funky with it, and we started. And for about a year and a half, it was just us. We couldn't find a drummer. And which from what I've learned by doing the podcast seems to be a recurring theme for musicians.
It's really hard to find a drummer.
But no, we started hanging out with more and more different people, getting in the music scene.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally found this guy, Brock, who we were all 17 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And me and Ricky started playing together at 16. And Brock had been taking lessons since he was like 11 years old.
So he was God on earth.
Oh my God,
yeah.
dude! The dude he had this beautiful blue pearl kit. It was double bass, not a pedal. He had a real double bass. We're 17, so we're like, oh, he had the rack, a Gibraltar rack. The thing was, we thought it was Neil Peart. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, this guy's amazing. We couldn't believe he wanted to play drums with us. And he was so good. And every song that we had written, like he was able to just bang out the perfect drum beat for it. Like it didn't take him long at all to put something together.
That's awesome.
Now, funny enough, he had a younger brother. And his younger brother started taking drum lessons at 6 years old. And at the time, he was 11. So he'd been taking drum lessons for 5 years. And anytime we were on a break, this little 11-year-old kid would jump behind the drums and he was just as good as Brock. He was just as good as a 17 at 11. Yeah. And but he was kind of like a punk about it. You know what I mean? He's like a little punk about it.
He's like, I know I'm good.
So fast forward, that kid's name is Brent Cates, who ended up on Rooster Radio last year.
Whoa.
He ended up becoming a traveling musician. He now sings and plays guitar. Like he started as a
that's
drummer,
cool.
but now he can play it all. And so I want to shout out to Brent Cates, who, that little 11-year-old annoying little brother kid is now like a bona fide, like good. He's got 2 albums of his own music out. He was doing the Dave Matthews tribute thing for a while, and that actually took him around the country.
Oh, wow.
That was cool. But he still gigs around the Charlotte scene now, and you go check him out at Brent Cates Music. He's a very, very talented guy.
Yeah, I gotta check him out.
Yeah, but yeah, so we find Brock, and like we finally have this drummer, and we start playing backyard parties, play wherever we can play. We ended up playing a music festival that there was this store in Gastonia next to the tattoo shop called the Music Zone, and it's where you could get vinyl records and bootleg CDs. Back in the 90s, bootleg CDs were the hot shit. Like it would be like recorded concerts of bands and
sounded
like
awful,
singles.
I'm sure.
Oh no, they were amazing.
Oh,
Like it was good. It was good bootlegs. Yeah. The guy that ran that place, I don't remember his name, but he was a really cool dude. He had a band of his own, and his band, they were putting together a festival in the parking lot behind the store.
Oh, cool.
So when he told us, and his band's name was Grumpy's Toy, so he was telling us about this music festival, and me and Ricky, like the record scratch, everything stopped. It was like, hold up. Can we play? Can we play? Like we'll open, like, and he was like, sure. And so they're like, yes. So we got to play on this big stage. It was awesome. We had a great time. Now, funny enough, and you might have to edit this out, but the night before we were so excited. There was no sleep, right? Because this was like we had just done backyards up until now. So the night before the show, me and Ricky and a few of our friends all decided we're going to trip acid. For some reason, we thought this was a good idea. So we took acid the night before and tripped the night before. And so morning comes, sun starts coming up, and, we're supposed to hit the stage at noon. And we were like, fuck, how are we going to stay awake? And I said, I know. Let's take some more.
Oh, yeah.
So we took more at like 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 to 7 o'clock in the morning. And so we played, me and Ricky, Brock didn't do the acid, but me and Ricky were tripping our nuts off on that show. And we killed it. We killed it.
Awesome.
We were in a zone, man. We were in a zone.
It was like Santana when they're all sitting there sweating and
Yeah,
playing bongos. And...
I had a Jerry Garcia tie-dye shirt on. I had my sunglasses on so no one could see my eyes. We had a great time. But shortly after that, everything fell apart because I'm not going to name them, but one of the members of the band got a girlfriend, and
Yoko Ono.
Well, no, not even that. It's just he had never had anyone give him any
attention.
Sex. Like he started having sex.
Right.
He started having sex. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. But he started having sex with this girl and just stopped showing up.
Yeah.
He just stopped showing up altogether.
The power of penis compels you.
I'm telling you. So me and the other guy kept, trying to put something together, but just nothing, like no one clicked. We'd have, guys would come in and, guys would be trying to write stabbing westward music, and we're like, we're a grunge band,
Yeah.
Like we're not an industrial rock band, like we're a grunge band, and we just never. So and then shortly after that, life takes over.
Life happens. I want to talk a little bit about Blake and Nick's involvement with the recording process for Herman the Hearst driver, because there's some pretty cool stories there.
So you got some help.
We had a lot of help,
Got
actually.
some help putting that song in, because it's a very good song. Like I said,
Well, thanks.
if you wake up with a song in your head, that's how you know it's a good song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I say this to people all the time. A good song is a good song, whether it's country, rap, metal, rock, whatever it is. A good song's a good song. That's like, you can't sit here and act like Lady Gaga isn't the shit.
She's
She
amazing.
is.
You know what I'm saying?
She's incredible.
I am not a pop music fan. It's my least favorite genre of music. But Herman the Hearst Driver is a pop song, and I woke up with it in my head.
So you're saying it's a good song?
Fuck yeah, I'm saying it's a good song, man.
I
It's
really
a great song.
appreciate that. That's all that warms my heart.
Yeah, well, it's different. It's a story. You told a story, and you told it well.
I try to tell stories, obviously, because that's compelling for me as a listener. But I like writing pop music. Like I say in Auralayer that we write stoner pop because it's, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be stuff you can sing along to and get stuck in your head and that kind of thing. So when we finally got like Herman the Hearst Driver as a completed song in my head, I was like, what do I do with it? Because that's the part, where you're just like, does it become digital dust that sit on a computer forever because you recorded a demo, or what do you do with it? And I believe in the song a lot. It's one of those things that I put a lot of time and effort and I guess soul into writing the song, that I was like, how do I do it, justice? And I say we as in Block A, Nick over here, and a friend of ours named Jellyman, you know who you are, and you're amazing. We started jamming a lot down in this basement studio, not in this room, but the room next door. And we were just jamming a lot on different songs, just for fun, because, Jellyman's an amazing drummer, and it's always fun playing with an amazing drummer. So that's what we did. We just played music all the time. We would come down here and just play and play and play and play. And eventually we started playing Herman the Hearst Driver. I was like, hey, I've got a song I'd like to do. And
what did you think of it the first time you heard it? When he played
I
it for
loved
you?
it. And so me and Jake are actually real close. Like, I remember when the state of mind that he was in when he wrote the song. I remember him writing the song. This dude was burnt out on, doing the same shit different day, to the same point, with the same shitty people every day. Not only did he have like burnout, but like he had like heartbreak too, just constant toxic and negativity. He's just like, dude, I'm like a dog chasing my own tail, just like this sucks. He was burnt out, so he poured all his frustration to a song about writing a song about working yourself to the point that you die. And it's a really interesting way to tell that story, because ironically, when you hear the song, at the end of the song, Herman takes a ride in the hearse in a strange turn of events.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is, do something with your life that makes you feel alive while you have the time, because your life will slip before you realize. Time does not slow down as you get older. It actually speeds up.
Well said, brother. Let me tell you, I'm glad you said that, because in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm late to the party with this Rooster thing.
Don't be late.
See what I did? See
Don't
what
be
I
late.
did? See what I did there?
Don't be late. No. Actually, no. I think it's all perfect, dude. Like, I know COVID slowed your roll, but like, it gave you more time to like really lock into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And now,
you didn't stop.
and even though like you had all your momentum stopped, but now you have the silver lining, and the silver lining is people are stir crazy. People for the last 2 years didn't do anything, and now they're like, I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to go pay $10 to hear a band I've never heard of now, because it's out and it's doing something with other people, which people have been deprived of for years. So as unfortunate as COVID has been, as far as the heartbreak and the death and destruction that the virus caused, for an entrepreneur or an artist, there is a silver lining to this massively dark cloud. And that is, now that, I think we're
it's almost like the playing field's been leveled.
Yeah.
Because with everyone locked up for 2 years, like there was no promotion, there was no sponsors and this and that. It's like everyone started doing it. Like, how many people now are doing side gigs for work?
Oh yeah.
People have quit their jobs to do the thing that they want to do, and so it's actually kind of it's almost like the reset button was hit, and it's like, all right, what's the next thing now? Like what's coming up? Like, just like you're writing this song, you've given birth to a whole new project now.
Yeah, it feels like it's a whole new thing, and I won't get like too much into the weeds on it, but Herman the Hearst Driver is just the beginning. It's one song that's going to kind of be I would say like the starting line for something new that I want to do. Because obviously I have a lot of fun in Auralayer, and I love, playing with Thomas and Vlad. They're great people and they're great musicians, and I enjoy that, and I have to have that space for it. But there's going to be not just Herman the Hearst Driver, there's going to be another song and another song and another song. And when everything comes out, which will be July 16th, you're going to see that. You're going to see these little teaser for like what's coming next. And
where would people go to see these teasers?
So what what's dropping first is, we're going to be dropping the song on July 16th, and we're also going to be dropping a music video on July 16th.
Now, when you say we, who are you talking about?
Well, I guess I talk about the collaborative, people right here, Block A, Nick, and Jellyman, because it is really a group project. And I want to say, too, it's not just us four either. It's also our friend Philip Cope, who recorded the song. And we could not have done that without him, because...
Don't you love the humility? He's so humble. You're so humble.
Seriously.
No, seriously. Like, I could not have made it come out the way that I wanted it without Phil's help. He recorded the Auralayer record with us in Colombia, and he just got the vision. He did our EP as well, and he got the vision that we're going after, and he's such a great person to work with because he knows his shit, and he's just as passionate about it. We have a lot of fun working with Phil.
I want to say I'm so grateful for guys like you. You are all taking this craft seriously. You're making music videos. You're doing whatever you have to get the production on the song to make it sound good for when you play it in your car or on your phone. And that goes for all you guys, man. You guys are working so hard to put out, and you're putting out good product. Like, a lot of people are a lot more funded and they sound like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are doing the whole bootstrap thing, and you're getting help from your friends. You're making collaborative efforts to produce content, and the content is good. And I just want, if no one's told you that, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, because it is one of those things where you're working really hard and you hope something is going to come out of it. But, I do it purely because this is what I need to be happy. You know what I mean? Like, I posted on Facebook the other day. Oh, I posted something on Facebook. But it was the only person who can make your dreams happen is you. Yeah. And that's why I'm, self-funding a lot of the stuff. I pay for all the studio time, and I pay for this music video and photography. And, I know that there's an almost 0% chance that there's going to be a return on investment. I've invested a lot of money.
Like when people talk, like the average person that's not in the creative world.
Yeah.
When they talk about art, they talk about what's on the TV and what's on the radio.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many stars have to align to get someone to that point? Like, there's as talented as a Lizzo or a Lady Gaga or a Bieber or
Billie Eilish,
as talented as those people are, there are so many more people that are just as talented that don't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Those people, the people that you see on TV, the people that you hear on the radio, 9 times out of 10, those people happen to be in circles of people that can get those people the opportunities they need.
Yeah.
There are so many professional musicians that you've never heard of that are just as good, just as talented, just as creative. They just never had the opportunity put in front of them. And that's why that's the reason I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about being professional, right? If we create this professional atmosphere at the Rooster, and other bands get inspired by guys like you to take the shit seriously, we can make some noise and we can get those opportunities. But we don't get them unless we try and we work hard. And that's what you guys are doing. And this is laying foundation. This is laying groundwork for things to come. And even if you never get on national radio, it used to be MTV, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, even if you never get on that national level, you can still spend your whole life touring the country, even the world. You can go to other countries and play your music and never have your song played on the radio.
Yeah.
But you have to take it seriously. You have to treat it with reverence, and you have to treat it with love. And that's what you guys are doing. And I love it. And that's why Herman the Hearst driver came out so good. That's why I woke up with the song in my head, because you took the time to make a good product.
I really appreciate that, man. Those are some really kind words, and some really it's a really interesting way of looking at it, because I think of it as just this tunnel vision of just trying to get what's in my head out there, even if it's even if it isn't like this high production thing. It's something that I'm producing because I love it, and if it inspires somebody else to be like, well, this guy's doing it. Why not me? You know, I
well, exactly.
really respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. I became a father at a young age, so I had to go to work, and I spent a long time working for other people and trying to do that whole corporate structure. And the shit's just not for me. And it has taken me the better part of a decade of working for myself to figure out how to get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
Because like the corporate structure works for large companies, but when you're trying, it doesn't work for you, right? You have to work for you. You have to be your own advocate. Like, the Rooster doesn't have a marketing budget, and we don't have a team of people to create some sort of image. Like, it's just this homegrown, grassroots shit, just like the musicians that we plan on putting on the stage. And that's where we can all connect and relate.
Absolutely.
And that's again, I keep going back to the word scene. We can create a scene here. We can create something that's special, that we can all love and care about, and inspire the next generation. And that's how we make some noise. By taking it seriously.
I want to talk about some of the creations that are happening right now, and I kind of want to go around the room a little bit to start with Nick first, because Nick is in 2 projects. So Nick, what are those projects? Tell us a little bit about them. What are you guys creating?
So one band is, I'd say, more like a hard rock metal. That one is called Client 5. So we've got some interesting stuff going on there. So we've got one song coming out, I believe, July 1st.
Oh, cool.
And then...
This is news.
Yeah. Pre-release is coming out, I think... Let me see. It was the... June 18th. That's actually just a few days. Wow.
Ooh, all right.
Less than 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Look at that. Nick's coming out with some music. So what's the song? What's it called?
It's called
can you talk
Substance.
About? Substance?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
But yeah, it's kind of fun. It's a banger, I think. At
All
least
right.
in my opinion.
And that's Client 5?
Yeah, that's Client 5. And
then what's the other project?
My other band is Dandy and the Lions. So I'd say it's more, at least in my opinion, it's more like a pop rock kind of band.
Like indie pop kind of thing?
So it's a lot of fun. It's like a completely separate way.
I seriously dig Dandy and the Lions.
It fills all the little needs I've got. But we've got 2 shows coming up. We've got one at In Cahoots Art Bar. That one is on the 11th, and June 18th we are playing at the Radio Room.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome. Radio Room. Shout out to that. Yeah, that's a cool place.
What's up, Wes? How you doing?
They should have flip-flopped the stage in the bar in that building, though. Should have put the stage on the side that the door is.
Yeah, right.
But it's a cool place.
It's a really cool place. I love the Radio Room. Yeah. Well, so what about Dandy and the Lions? Or is anything coming out?
We've got some stuff on Spotify, so definitely check that out. But we're in the middle of recording our EP. Yeah.
Basic Bitch. That's a great song. So you have an EP coming out with it. With them.
I don't have a date for it quite yet.
Okay, but it's coming down the pipeline.
It's in the works.
Yeah, we're also going to be filming a music video for one of our songs. So
nice.
That one's going to be fun. It's that one's called Beer Gut Boys.
Beer Gut Boys.
Yeah, he's got a song called Beer Gut
Boys.
Here,
baby. Right here.
I can't wait to hear Adelaide sing about Beer Gut
talking my
Boys.
language.
It's a great song. It's a really great song.
I haven't heard it yet.
Well, that's great. I'm really excited.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I love music videos, by the way.
Me too.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but when my wife and I have people over and we're hanging out and stuff, and we got a TV in our garage, and we always end up on YouTube doing music videos.
It's fun.
It's so much fun, dude. I love it. All right, Blake, let's hear what's going on.
What are you doing, Blake?
Well, as of right now, Testarossa, we just released a music video for our song "Welcome to the Show," and coincidentally, we also released a song on streaming. It is live right now, so you can go on Apple Music, Spotify.
Great video, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it. I love the video.
All of that was shot on this iPhone right here.
Really?
Yeah, just a little hand tripod and an iPhone. The new cameras were so good, and then we obviously played to the track.
I have something I've been dying to ask you, Blake. I have been dying to ask you this. I've been waiting for this exact moment.
Cameras and microphones in front of us.
Yeah.
With it.
So, the beer cereal. What was that like?
Oh, dude!
I can't believe you kept a smile on your face.
Oh,
that.
it was horrible. It tasted, I got 3 bites in, and the 3rd bite, it was so nasty I had to go outside and spit it out. But I had to walk away from the trailer because it's out in the country, and I don't want a bunch of ants coming around. So I went over to the road and So
I can't believe you kept that smile on your face because Blake has a huge smile.
I was very happy. If you're not having fun. If I'm not having fun, you're not having fun. And I want you to have fun while I sit here and suffer in front of you for 3 seconds of laughter. So I think it was Colton's idea. I know that. I don't remember how it came to be, but like he just brought a box of Rice Krispies, I think.
Yeah, it was Rice Krispies.
And so we just poured it in there, and take a plastic Tupperware container or whatever, beard it up, and then it's like he was like, who wants to eat this? I was like, I'll do it.
Rock and roll.
I'll do it.
That is so rock and roll. I love it.
Dude, Colton he's a very stable genius. And what I mean by that is that
very stable genius.
This guy,
incredible.
This guy has the wackiest ideas. Colt is a very strange individual. Someone with an acquired taste. But when you acquire the taste, you'll have a deep appreciation
He's sharp.
for his character. Sharp.
He's very sharp.
He is
and I appreciate that about him.
He is so brilliantly and subtly clever in so many ways that if you're not in tune with it, it'll go right over your head or right up under you. But if you know, like the dude is brilliant. The dude is brilliant, but he has amazing ideas, and it's not just amazing at coming up with funny, silly ideas, but it's also just really a brilliant songwriter. Like the dude can just pull out and like a hit. There's a hit, and he just does it all the time. And
do you come equipped with your own sound effects, Blake?
Yes, I'm a package deal.
So I know that Testarossa has been writing some.
So I've heard.
I am. Yes. The rumors are true.
So I hear Testarossa's writing some new music.
Yeah,
too.
actually, and we're writing some new music. So to answer your question you asked me before, a lot of times Colt would just come in and it's like, here's a song. Like what's it like Knocking Outside Your Door is one of those songs he just came in with one day, but there are some songs like Son of a Bitch, which is out on streaming. That's one that was a little bit more of a collaborative writing effort. Colton pretty much almost always has written all the lyrics of all the songs, but Jordan also is a massive creative force in the band, so he comes up with some of the most melodic stuff. So we've got a song called Hard on You. Not released yet, but if you've heard us live, you've heard it. He just came in with a riff, and then we just took that riff and come in with a drum beat, and then Colton like, wait, and then when he'll sit there and put his phone out and record, he'll just go run around the practice pad singing gibberish and just literally just winging it on the fly, and then boom, we got a song. Those are my favorite songs that we write, are the ones where it starts on one little riff or one little melody or something or an idea, and then we all are just sit there with the idea. We actually recently wrote a song a couple weeks ago. We were all rehearsing, and we're like, man, we're tired of playing the same stuff. Like, we just sat there like, let's write something new. And so we're just like, you don't got any ideas? And then Jordan just starts playing a riff, and now it's one of my favorite songs that we have now.
Is that Slow Burn?
No, that's one of those. Slow Burn is one of those songs that was just, it started with Jordan playing that riff, and we were like, that's catchy.
That's a really good song. They play it at some of the live shows. It's not out or anything yet, but man, that song just kicks so much ass.
That's actually one of my top 3 favorites to play. Real
it's good.
Easy. I don't have to sing backups on it, so I can just do whatever I want with my bass guitar. But so I've mentioned a couple songs here that are not on streaming. Right now, we're actually getting ready to go into the studio and professionally record this stuff with Joe Potts, JP Audio Labs in Bunker Hill, North Carolina. We love you, Joe. We love all that you do for us. And thank you for making us sound so big and sexy, because you are.
Well, if you've never had the pleasure of seeing a Testarossa show live, I highly recommend it. It's a very high energy, very fun show. I love the way you guys approach, the art. Like you guys, Testarossa, you don't take yourself so seriously because you're putting on a show. Like the music's great. Like the music's there.
Oh yeah.
So they have the freedom to be a little silly, if you will, for lack of a better term.
Oh, intentionally silly.
Yeah, and the silliness makes the show fun. Like it's hard. You can't go see Testarossa and not like
have fun.
Yeah, you gotta have a good time.
Colt wearing a fanny pack is what sold it for me. I remember
He wears it every single day.
I love it. I mean, like Colt embodies the '80s in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he does.
He's great like that.
His taste in everything embodies the '80s.
They're a wonderful band. I always love seeing them.
I love what Testarossa's doing, and I can't wait to get you guys on our stage.
I'm very excited.
But I'll tell you who else I can't wait to get on stage, and that is this band right here, Auralayer. Jake, I want to talk for a minute about what Auralayer is up to these days.
Man, we've got so much exciting stuff coming down the pipeline that it's like, where do I start? From when we first interviewed with you guys, like that was in 2020, wasn't it?
That was 2020, yeah.
And we were just kind of like a fledgling band. We started in 2020. We didn't really.
You didn't have a recording to give you for a song. You had to.
Nothing.
Yeah, I think you guys like recorded yourselves at a show.
We sent live.
And sent me a live a live MP3.
We didn't have anything. Now we started recording an EP in September of that year, and we released it. No, I think we had recorded the EP in like, I don't know, it had to have been like May, and we released it like August of 2021, and it was like one of those things that was like we were getting there, but we needed time. But now we've kind of found our footing. We called our EP Solar Plexus. Manipura is the chakra that we were inspired by, and that's the chakra that's right here in your stomach. It's confidence. And that was what we were doing, is we were building confidence in ourselves to be able to put out our work. Can we actually do this and sound good in the studio, So we came out with the EP, which is 3 songs. 3 of those songs will be on the album. But now, we met Phil, who we talked about earlier, who did the EP. He's done Herman the Hearst Driver. He's done our album. We just love working with him. We went back in the studio with Phil, and we recorded this whole album starting in May of 2021, and we finished everything in May of 2022.
Wow!
On the same day that we started it, it's the same day we finished it.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That was the day we mastered it.
Sometimes it takes that long. Sometimes it does.
It really does, but we wanted to make sure we have a very quality recording and a quality product, and Phil was along the whole ride. We went into so many, mixing sessions and just really worked very hard to make sure that this album sounds as good as possible. And so we're really super excited to put it out. We just got the artwork for it from our friend Juan Montoya. He did the wonderful artwork for the cover, and I can't wait to show you guys what that's going to look like. So everything is there. We just have to figure out how it's going to be put out. But just know that the Auralayer record is coming, and it's coming very soon.
I can't wait to hear it, man. I can't wait. When it comes out, we're going to bring you to the green room. Maybe we'll have you play a song on the show.
I'll give you a preview before you leave.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I love it. I love it. I love this. I love being surrounded by creative people. Like this is what I want to be when I grow up. Yeah. Right? Like this, it took me 40 fucking years, but I figured it out. Right. Finally, I figured it out. It makes me so happy to get to spend time with creative people that are inspired. There's, I don't know.
I feel the same way,
I don't want to be mean, and I don't want to say negative things about people or other people, but I'll just say the corporate world is so fucking boring.
Yes,
it is. So it's mind-numbingly boring. Well, like I already know what you're gonna say before you say it. Exactly. I don't want to be around people like that. I want to be around people that are gonna surprise me and inspire me, challenge my ideas. You know what I mean? I'm 40 years old, and I'm still not a diehard anything other than fan of art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm constantly evolving, learning. You learn new stuff. You learn from people. It's the best way to learn. Outside of personal experience, having someone that you're close to go through something is the next best way to learn, And, I love being surrounded by creative people. So I just want to say thank you guys all for coming into my life, man, and being a part of what we're doing.
Thank you. Cool people.
It's great.
Likewise.
I'm gonna bounce off that point because that's actually the whole reason that I bought this house that we're sitting in, is because I wanted a space to be able to make music and to be able to create and bring around really cool people. And that's what we're doing, you know, playing with Nick right here, playing with Blake, and even having you down here, and Jellyman, and I have some wonderful friends, Gavin and Ash, who also come around. It's great because, you know, we have this space where we can, you know, be creative and have just a whole world to ourselves, where there's pianos and amps and microphones and stuff like that. You know, it's great. And being around people who teach you, who you learn from, that's like the most inspiring and amazing thing that can possibly come out of all this, is creating amazing art and fun art where you, I don't know, feel fulfilled. You know,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm at
You
right
do
now.
get a sense of fulfillment, you know, when you create stuff, for sure. Now, with that said, I want to wrap this part of the interview up because
Yes.
there's a new friend in my life that I'm finally going to get to meet for the first time. So I think it's about time to
Cue the
bring out
Halo theme.
Rosco.
I think it's time to bring out Rosco. So Rosco is my wingman. We're gonna be bros
Literally.
for life. Oh, he's my wingman. So again, this is a very one-off special episode of the Rooster, and it's called the Rosco.
This is
Called the
Rosco
Rosco.
Radio,
This
baby.
is Rosco Radio today, and you're about to find out why right after this quick break.
We're gonna cut right here.
Oh, this is Rosco the Rock and Roll Macaw! Yeah! Can I get a yeah? Rosco, what's it like being a bird? Like,
Huh?
I've always wondered what it might be like to be a chicken or a parrot. So,
Or a rooster.
a rooster? How is your experience being my wingman? Has it been good? I know you gotta lean into the microphone. All right.
He's a little camera shy.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hello.
So, Mike, wave at him up and down like this.
Hey.
You wanna say hello?
Hey, Rosco.
Hi.
Oh,
Hey, buddy.
yes, I love it. Hey.
Jake and Rosco have a very interesting relationship. Jake is Rosco's favorite dance partner, actually.
Come on, do it.
Get him going again. Ready?
Here, Nick, do it. He's like, I'm gonna get that microphone.
He's a showman. Are you a showman? Yes, you are a showman, aren't you?
So, Rosco, how'd you meet Blake?
Oh, we go way back. Through Nick's mother.
Yeah.
I
Shout out to Tammy Fox.
Yeah, shout out to Tammy for letting me take my wingman. But she insisted that I adopt him because like he would just raise hell if I went over there. I wouldn't hang out with him, and he started giving her hell. And she's like,
So he took a liking to you immediately.
No, actually, like it was like over 10 years.
Oh,
ago. I met
okay.
him, and about 5 years ago, I played guitar for him, and he just started dancing, and he
Okay.
was we've been bros ever since. And
Really receptive to Blake, because the thing is like Blake is a different kind of energy, and Rosco is a different kind of energy. So they just happen to energetically align.
yeah, we do.
And you know, he's Rosco the Rock and Roll Macaw. I mean, he's got so much personality. Oh yeah. Get it? Come here.
Rosco, you are one cool dude, bud.
Yeah,
He's very cool.
Yeah, so check all of these guys out on social media. Follow us, subscribe to us and everyone else's YouTube to keep up with it. And like I said earlier, you know, we can really do something special with what we're doing with the Rooster, but it doesn't happen without these guys. Without the artists, the Rooster doesn't exist. So if you're watching this and you haven't already, reach out to us. We're at theroostergastonia.com. There's a booking tab on our website. I would prefer it if any band that wants to play our stage use that booking tab. That gets it to the place it needs to be so that I can reach out to you easier. But if you can't do that, we're on Instagram and Facebook at the Rooster Gastonia, and we do have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it so we can get our subscriptions up and we can maybe start creating lots of content that'll get inside of your algorithms. And fellas, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for having me down. This has been an absolute pleasure. I love doing this. I can't wait to do this every day of my life for the rest of my life. And thank you to whoever's listening and watching, because we need you to do that so that we can keep doing this and bring you great content.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, beautiful people.
Goodbye, World Wide Web. Bye.